All right, welcome back. We're gonna do something we said a few videos back, or in the last video, or at some point. We said we'd do it at some point. We are going to take a bunch of our saw rocks and drill press polish rocks and throw them in the tumblers and put them through a stage 5 for a week. And we're gonna come back in a week and see how they look. So this will be a fun little experiment, and if it works, that'd be great, because it's still a much faster way to get some of these polished up really nicely than waiting for 5 weeks. I do 5 stages, and I do a week for all 5 stages, and I get really good results, so I'm going to continue doing that. Even though it is a really long-winded process, we'll do the best we can to replicate that in a shorter amount of time. So we're going to try and get that going, and we're going to start going on it today. I've got a few picked out here. We've got some more in the bin over here, and we're going to get them tossed in the barrels with some water, some tumbling media, and some grit, and see what we end up with. And again, we're going with the dump truck method, so yeah, we're a little overweight, about half a pound overweight in each barrel. That's with barrel weight, obviously, all the barrel components, rocks obviously, tumbling media, and the water and the grit. I do go a little overboard on the grit sometimes. I put 6 tablespoons in each barrel of the 8,000 grit aluminum oxide polish, and probably a little overboard with the media too. I might have been able to squeeze maybe one more rock in each barrel without all that media, but it kind of likes to get in between a lot of the stuff and keep the stuff kind of rolling instead of getting, sort of stuck together, which with a lot of the flat surfaces in there is definitely what we're after. So we'll come back in a week's time and check it out. Hopefully it works out. We'll see. Just an absolute beauty of a day out today. Uh-oh, the sun's shining. 75 degrees. Really light breeze. Obviously, I'm kidding. It's kind of miserable out today. So, what we're going to do is we're going to check out the drill press rocks that we tumbled on our stage 5 last week. So let's get into that. Let's start out with these two. Now, these were rocks that I did polish on the drill press, and they just didn't quite get as much of a shine on the surface that I polished as I wanted to. And you can see the light reflecting quite a bit better Now on this rock, I think it did catch a polish. Some of these areas right in here on this side that I didn't polish, the more natural rock side, do look like they're a little bit shinier, but it's really hard to tell. You can see some white grit still stuck in there. These will all definitely get a dish soap stage wash for an hour, or just a good toothbrush scrub. I find that that almost works better. And it does work a little faster too. But I think it might have worked. I don't know how well it worked. It didn't quite work as well as I was hoping, but I think it also might just be rock to rock. So I'm going to call this one 80% success. Now this one here, I think for sure took a much better polish, and even some of the sanding pad kind of gouge marks on this one were a little bit deeper. Unfortunately, there's a couple right here that I can see. You can kind of see them right there if you catch them in the light, but a lot of them have actually gone away. And if you look on this side, the non-polished side, you can actually see some of the more flatter surfaces caught more of a polish than they originally had. So some of these are still a little bit kind of cloudy looking, but so far it's I'm decently happy with these results. This one here is a really cool slab, and its polish actually turned out really well. You can still see some of the grit pad marks on the edge here. I don't know, maybe this one might not have caught quite as good of a polish. And I think since it's so thin, it probably needed to be around some other rocks that didn't have quite as much flatness on them as some of these do. So it looks pretty similar to how it looked before. We're going to call that just a nice little experiment on that one. This one here I can tell right away. I mean, it's definitely got some big saw gouges in it. I didn't do a very good job of sanding it down. But you know, even on this side here and on the sides that I didn't cut, it really took a nice polish with that grit. And certainly on the sides that I did cut and polish, it looks significantly better than it did when we started. So pretty happy about that. This one was 100%, 110% success. Really stoked on this one here. And this one too, thankfully it did take a good polish. Again, some of these saw gouges and some of these drill press sanding pad marks are pretty deep in there. I'd probably have to go through and just grind it all again to get those out, which I don't know if I want to do. This is a really nice stone, or chunk of stone. Even on this side, you can tell if you hold it just right, it does look like it's a little bit wet. So, and it's not. These are super dry. They've been drying all night. So this one I think is also a success as well. Looking really good. We didn't lose too much of the crystal up top here from it banging around in the barrels all week long, so that's good. It's looking really nice. Super happy with how that one turned out. We'll take a quick look at these two. Again, lots of white grit still in there, still hanging on, and we'll get these soaked real good and toothbrush polished, or toothbrush cleaned rather. But again, catching a really nice shine. I think once these actually do get cleaned up, I just haven't had time since I pulled them out and washed them off, they're gonna really shine up real nice. And these polished surfaces, I think, really did catch a much better polish with that last stage. Same thing with this one. It was only cut on the one side. This was all kind of some druzy crystal that I wanted to leave alone. I was hoping that some of this banding, kind of right in here, a little chunk right there, and around the top here, was going to pop off a little bit more, but I think to do that, we would have to put it through more stages of polishing. But overall, I mean, it's looking real good. Let's hold these up to the light. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that looks super awesome. Super cool. You can even see it glowing through the crystal on the back. That is just wild. Never ever do I get tired of that, man. That is so cool. Let's try this one. Let's see what this one looks like. That's really neat. You see the patterns in there. It almost looks dirty. It's not though. That's all cleaned off inside the rock. That's really neat. Really, really cool. And this one here, again, man, a lot of that grit. I think since these didn't go through a full tumble cycle, there's a lot more kind of sharp or crisp edges where that junk is going to get stuck in. But we will set these aside and clean them off. Also, to probably compare to some others that I want to do in the future. But this polish side, I think, looks quite a bit better. And same with this one. Looks better than it did when we started. So pretty happy about this one as well. Quartz chunk here. And if you remember from our review video of the quartz chunk that we tumble polished all the way through, it lost a lot of mass, but it was significantly shinier. And to be honest, I think that this chunk doesn't look quite as polished as it did before. So, I mean, thankfully we didn't lose any of the rose coloring. Obviously, just going through one week of a polished grit instead of more of an abrasive type smoothing grit, you're not going to lose a whole lot of mass starting out with that. But I do think that this one did look better before we put it in there, so we will remember that. I don't have a whole lot of quartz, but I do have some that I was kind of planning on doing something with, and maybe we will rethink polishing it in the tumblers. Interesting. Learned something with that. And this one here, we did tumble polish 2 chunks of this in our comparison video, and this one I think didn't catch much of a polish, so I'm thinking it might have gotten stuck. I mean, you can see it in the light, but it might have gotten stuck somehow and didn't quite get as polished as I would like. On this edge though, the non-polished edge, it actually did catch a pretty decent polish, so that's good. I mean, it was already definitely smooth to begin with, but, and even here too, if you look at it pretty close, you can see it shining just like that. So I guess it did work. It does look a little bit different. It's just these bigger areas, the flat spots, don't seem to be quite as polished as I would like, but the edges where it rounds over do seem to be a lot more, I don't know, cohesive. It looks like it's a lot more natural and flows better, I guess, is a weird way to put it. Holding it up into the light, and the edges glow just a touch, but not a whole lot of light passing through this one. This side a little bit more. Interesting. Overall, I think it did have a positive effect on the rock, so that's good. We've got our last couple of them here. We've got this little tower, and this one, the edges don't look like they match quite as well, unfortunately. That looks like a weak spot there, like it might want to pop off. That's interesting. But yeah, I don't know about this one. I don't think I don't think it looks that much different. It doesn't feel very much different either. So maybe we need to be a little more careful on our rock shape picking for these barrels, for this stage. And this one the edges look really nice, but the surface feels pretty decent too. And this one, there were some scratch marks from the polishing pads, but they were pretty minimal. And it looks like it's gotten just about all of them out. So that's good to see. The edges do look a little bit more together. Lots of white grit stuck in this one still. Yeah, looks pretty awesome in the light, that's for sure. I mean, you don't have to do much to these to make them look super cool when you hold them up to a light, but any little bit can help. Well, yeah, this one looks pretty decent too. Pretty happy with that. So overall, I think I would call this a successful learning experience. I don't know about a successful polish, but certainly gleaned some valuable information to do some other cool stuff with. Some of them turned out really, really nice. Like this one caught a better polish. This one turned out awesome, and that one looks great. These two, you know. This one not so much. This one not so much, and this one is kind of mid. But I think what I'm going to try next, or week after next, I think I'm going to try doing one of these again. I'm going to try the same type of thing again, get a little bit better about picking the rocks, and I think then after that, what I will do is I will polish these rocks, the next batch of rocks, up to about maybe an 800 or 1,000 grit with the drill press, and then put them into the stage 5 tumble for a week. I think that those results might yield a little bit better than if I go all the way through my drill press tumbling grit pads. And I would like to try that out, but before we do that, because I need more of those, I haven't had enough time to get enough rocks for a full batch to I haven't polished enough rocks on the drill press to get into a full batch. What we're going to do for this next week is do this again. We'll come back with some more rocks that I have put through a full drill press polish, and hopefully get a little bit better, a little more variety of rock shapes and sizes so that they can bounce around a little bit better. And we'll get going on that and see how it goes. Tune in next week to see what we've got going on.